All right, welcome everyone to CNS Connect webinar series. My name is Amy Smith and I'm the manager of certifications for the BCNS and the ANA. Today I am joined by Sunny Brigham, who is going to share her expertise on running successful group programs. If you are a CNS, you can earn 1 CEU for today's webinar. That will be in the category number 5, which is professional development. And so I will add a survey to the chat at the end so you can claim that. And if you have any questions, please add them to the chat of the Q&A, and myself and Sunny will do our best to go through those and hopefully answer questions at the end. So Sunny is a clinical nutritionist as well as a business coach, a BCNS supervisor with the Nutrition and Herbal Collective, and adjunct professor MUIH. Sunny specializes in thyroid and Hashimoto's disease. She has her master's in nutrition, a post-bachelor certificate in herbal medicine, or herbal studies, and an MBA. Sunny enjoys helping new nutritionists learn about nutrition, build their private practice, and see them soar. Prior to becoming a nutritionist, Sunny spent 20 years in the U.S. Air Force. She is married with 3 grown children, has 3 dogs, and enjoys traveling the world. I will stop sharing my screen and turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Amy. All right. So let me, I tested the tech this morning, so let's hope that everything goes okay. And I have got some slides. Amy tells me that the slides will go out after the presentation, so you will get a copy of the slides and my notes that are on the slides. So welcome everybody. And we got a lot to cover today. I only have 14 slides, but it's a lot of information in an hour, and I want to make sure that there's plenty of time to answer all the questions that you all have. I always encourage people that while we'll do questions at the end, if you have a question, put it in the chat while we're on the topic so that you don't forget the question, because I'd hate for you to hold it to the end and then the question kind of escapes you. That often happens to me. Okay, so let's jump into it. So this is where we're going. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. Amy already covered that, but I'll add a little more to it. Why you should offer programs or courses as a part of your business model. Why it's super important that you know your audience. You're going to hear me say that a million times during this presentation. It is super important as the foundation of any business that you have a very deep understanding of your audience. What to include in your program, and then a little bit about marketing, kind of how you can market it. And this isn't a marketing presentation, meaning that we're not focused on marketing your program. We're focusing on the content creation and why you should build a program. But I want to add a little bit in there so you're not kind of hanging like, what am I supposed to do next? So we'll cover a little bit about that at the end. This is me. This is my husband. You can't see it behind here, but there's a photo of our 3 kids. And then these are 3 dogs. I'm an avid animal lover. I always say my heaven is dogs, lots of dogs. When I die, I'm just going to be surrounded by animals. I am a clinical nutritionist, BCNS supervisor. I have my master's of business administration. I am retired military. I spent 20 years. I went all over the world. I lived in Japan. I lived in England, spent some time in Iraq and Afghanistan, lots of different states. So it's definitely shaped my view of the world, which I think everybody should explore and travel to help shape their view of the world. I'm an animal lover, a world traveler. I'm getting ready to move to Italy in just over 3 weeks. I'm super stoked about that. And got my three grown children. Oh, I always forget their ages, but I'll tell you, this is so bad. They are 23, 21, and 18. 18. They turned 19, 22, and 24 this year. It's horrible. When they were younger, I could like spat off their ages like that. But as they age, I kind of forget, which is not my happiest moment as a mom, but there it is. Okay, so why do you want to create a program? So having the one-on-one client model is a really great place to start. This model is going to help you understand your niche and your ideal client so that you can streamline your marketing efforts of what you're going to offer in your practice. It's also going to help you hone your marketing strategy. You will learn over time what you're saying and what your audience is kind of latching onto in this speech that you're giving. You'll figure out what type of marketing works best for your audience, because not all marketing works best for everybody. There is a set of marketing skills that work really well in the nutrition realm or nutrition world or herbalist or health coaching. But what works for me may not work for you, and what works for you may not work for the next person. So really knowing your audience and kind of diving deep in there is going to help you understand what marketing works best for you and your audience. And it'll help you over time to kind of hone that marketing strategy that you put into your practice. And this is your hint that if you don't have a marketing strategy, it's a good time to start creating one. This is also going to help you develop protocols for your clients. Protocols or interventions or, assessments, monitoring, evaluation, whatever you want to call them in your business, the tools and guidance that you give your clients to help them move through the steps of the change that they are looking to make. When you start to see the same type of client over and over, you're going to start to develop protocols that can be used in programming later on. So for me, over the years, I've seen a breadth of individuals, but I love to work with hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's. And while no two Hashimoto cases are the same, no two hypothyroid cases are the same, the tools and techniques that I give each individual start to become the same. The supplements that I recommend for each individual start to become the same. And so as you start to have these very distinct protocols or interventions that you give to your audience over time, those are really great things to start to grab onto to incorporate into your programming. The one-on-one model is really great. Most people start there. I think there is a lot of value in doing the one-on-one model in your business. It helps you become a really well-rounded clinician. It helps you understand how you want to help people. It helps you kind of suss out behavior modifications and what that looks like for you and for your clients that you're working with. I don't think that you can create the type of clinician that you're going to be only focusing on group programs or training or things like that. I really think it's important to do the one-on-one piece to help mold you into the clinician that you really want to be. And that comes with time and practice. The clinician that I was when I first started is certainly not the clinician that I am today. So I think that over time, people will learn, who they are as a clinician and how they want to practice. So I really think that that one-on-one model is important, but that one-on-one model really leads to a greater incidence of practitioner burnout. Been there myself. I shut down my business because I was just at my wit's end. I was so burnout. I was so stressed out. My own health was tanking. And so I had to take a complete step back so that I can kind of reassess who I am, what I want to do, and what I want my business to look like. I'm just going to turn this light down here. I'm getting blinded. There we go. Now I've got like an orb. But the one-on-one model tends to lead, doesn't necessarily, not everybody that does the one-on-one model is going to get burnout, but it does lead to a greater incidence of practitioner burnout because there's only so many hours in the day that you can see clients, right? There's only so many hours that we have to do that one-on-one model, and we're essentially trading time for money. On top of that, the time that you spend with your clients in your one-on-one sessions takes an immense amount of energy from you. Like, especially if you're an empath or an introvert, even for extroverts or people that aren't empaths, you are going to feel drained after those sessions, and you have to give yourself buffers and breaks and recognize when you're kind of feeling low energy or kind of drained emotionally, because against our better efforts, oftentimes clients share really big things with us, and we have to process those because they've been shared with us. And so working in that one-on-one model takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of energy from you. So if you're working like just 3 to 4 hours of clients in a day, it's going to feel like you ran a marathon at the end of the day, or you worked a full 8 or 9 hour day in, the regular working world, whatever that looks like for you. So just a couple of hours kind of takes a lot of brain energy and a lot of physical energy as well. Excuse me, got a little frog. From a financial perspective, this one-on-one model really isn't going to grow your practice to a place where you are generating income that you're living comfortably on. So if you have dreams of, making $80,000 to $100,000 a year from a one-on-one practice, I'm not saying that you can't do that. You certainly can, but your prices have to be high enough and your hours have to be long enough in that one-on-one model to generate that type of income. If that is like your income goals, or you want to live comfortably, if you want to be able to take X number of weeks off to travel, if you want to hit a savings goal, if you want to make it so that your partner, your significant other, doesn't have to work as hard as they do to kind of help balance out the income, this is where kind of programming comes in. It's going to help you reach some of those financial goals that you're looking for without expending a lot of energy into the one-on-one model that you are right now. And this is where passive income comes in. Passive income is sort of passive, but it's sort of hands-on. It's called passive income, and that, you're not putting a lot of the same energy and effort into passive income as you are in the one-on-one model. But in the nutrition world, you're still kind of putting your hands in the pot. I don't feel personally that when it comes to helping clients through their progression of change to reach whatever goals it is that they're setting for themselves, that we are 100% hands off, because we have to kind of be in there somewhere, whether that's creating the program, adding some type of touch service to the program, doing some group coaching, providing some guidance in some way, shape, or form. It's not 100% hands off, but it is much more passive than the one-on-one model. And passive income is a great way to still help people from a nutritional standpoint, because most of us got in this career because, one, we had a health condition that we were kind of inspired to help others because we dove into the research to kind of figure out our own problems, or we just love nutrition and we were just inspired to help others. And so this is a really great way that you can still kind of help spread that word to get that information out there to still help people, but help people on a much larger scale than you can in the one-on-one model. It's going to increase your income, and it's going to decrease the amount of time that you spend involved in those particular streams of income. I'm going to say this a million times. You've already heard me say it once. You need to know your audience. Otherwise, all your efforts are going to be for naught. If you create a program and you're not hitting the points that your audience is looking for, it's kind of like a lost effort. So if you don't have a truly deep understanding of your audience, this is the moment. This is the moment that you need to figure out what your audience wants. Okay, so before you start building a program, and we're going to get into how do you build it, what do you need to include, how do you brainstorm it, all of that good stuff. You need to ensure that you have a marketing strategy. Marketing strategy, like I said earlier, it's important to make sure that you understand your audience and you understand what marketing works for them. What are they drawn to? Because if your client load isn't where you want it to be, then maybe your marketing efforts aren't quite where they should be. So before you add programming, we need to make sure that marketing is kind of on point. So if you create a program without having great marketing, you can create the greatest program in the world, but if it's not marketed correctly, people aren't going to join it. So this is why it's really important to have a good marketing strategy before you jump into that. It is easier to market your passive income items to a warm audience than it is to a cold audience. A warm audience is a set of individuals that are already aware of you and your services. They are avid consumers of you and your content, whether that's social media, your emails, your handouts, your free talks, your Facebook or Instagram lives, your free webinars, your blogs, your vlogs, your podcasts. Whatever content it is that you are creating, they are consumers of that content. So it's people that are already aware of you. They know that you're there. They know that you exist. They know that you're putting this information out into the world. If you're not creating free content for your audience, it's another sign for you to start creating free content for your audience. Free content, one, does a lot for search engine optimization for your website to bring people to your website, to bring traffic to your website, but it also does wonders as building know, like, and trust with your audience. A warm audience is also problem aware, solution aware, and product aware. They're just not ready to dive in yet. So I know I just said a lot of terms. I'm going to go over what those are. So problem aware is somebody that is aware that they have a problem. Somebody that's solution aware is somebody that knows that they have a problem, but they also know that nutrition and lifestyle alterations could be the solution to their problem. And somebody that's product aware is somebody that knows that they have the problem. They know that nutrition and lifestyle alterations could be the solution to their problem, but they are also aware that you can help them, that what you offer is what they are looking for. So problem aware, solution aware, product aware. A cold audience is somebody that never met you before. They have no knowledge of you or your services. This is somebody that needs a lot of warming up before they will sign up for anything with you. Now, that's not to say that somebody that's a cold audience will never sign up for anything that you offer. People will do that. People will come across your website and say, wow, I really like what this person's saying. Oh, sweet, they have a program. Oh, awesome. It's like right in my price point that I'm looking for. I'm going to take a leap of faith and join. There are people that will do that. By and large, people need a lot of warming up before they jump into some type of one-on-one service or programming. And that is why most of us offer strategy calls or discovery calls, is to give them a little idea of who we are as a person. If you've already brought people into your community, those are the people that you want to promote your passive offers to. So whether that's an email list, private Facebook group, blog followers, podcast subscribers, people that are already aware of you, those are the ones that you want to promote your programs or your passive income to. You bring people into your community by building knowledge of them and targeting them with your marketing strategy. So there we go again, knowing your audience and having a developed marketing strategy. Those are really, really important. So I ask you this question and I want you to just have a solid think for a good 10 seconds and then I'll move on. Do you know your audience? Do you understand their needs and their wants and their desires? Do you know where they hang out? Do you know where they're consuming health information? Do you know what they're up late Googling? Do you have a deep understanding of them? If you can't definitively say, absolutely, that is square one to start with, is getting to know your audience. Okay, what do they perceive? This is really important. What do they perceive as their greatest symptoms or struggles? This is often something I see in the marketing realm is we market to them what we think their problems are or what we think that they're struggling with. But we need to market to them what they think that they're struggling with, right? So we need to know what they perceive their biggest problem is. We market to their perceived biggest problem, bring them into our world, and then educate them on all these other things that they should be concerned about or that they should be focused on, right? So if you have somebody that's super weight focused and they call you and like, hey, I want to lose some weight. Weight is it's a side effect, right? It's a side effect of something. It's a side effect of mental health, eating disorders, imbalance in the body, slow metabolism, right? Weight is not a cause of anything. It's not a cause of cholesterol. It's not a cause of anything, right? It is a side effect of something. So when somebody is coming to us for weight loss, and I know a lot of practices are weight neutral, and I think that's amazing. I would challenge you to ask them, well, tell me what else is going on, because weight is a side effect. Educate them a little bit. But we have to market to their perceived problems and then educate them on what the true problem is. Okay, so hopefully at this point, you're kind of seeing a pattern. It's all about what they think that they need and what they want, not what you think they want or need. You can create the absolute best program in the world to be profitable. So let's jump into the meat and potatoes here of programming. And I'll use the term programs and courses interchangeably. You call it what you want to. I've created courses in Healthy, and I call them courses there because that's what Healthy calls them. I've created programs in Practice Better, and I call them programs over there because that's what Practice Better calls them. For here, I'll probably use the term program most often, but if you hear me slip in the term courses, it's the same thing as programs. So there's a variety of levels or types of programs that you can create for your business. For time's sake, we're going to talk about the two most common programs, SLOs, or slow liquidating offers, and signature courses. So an SLO, or a slow liquidating offer, and a signature course. And we're going to dive into each of these in the next few slides. So let's start with what is an SLO. So a slow liquidating offer is a low-cost item that you offer your individuals as a way to build know, like, and trust. In the nutrition world, know, like, and trust, or KLT, is super, super important because people are entrusting you with their medical information. They are trusting you with their health. They need to know you, they need to like you, and they need to trust you. And so having an SLO is a great way to build know, like, and trust. Know, like, and trust is a part of marketing, and SLOs are a marketing tool. They're a marketing tool that you charge for. Yes, we are going to charge people to market to them. It's not as weird as you think. SLOs do introduce you to people that are wanting to take the next step, but need a little bit more convincing. Maybe they need a little bit more knowledge about you, or maybe they want to understand your teaching style, or maybe they're not ready to commit to a big program. They just want to, dip their toes in the water. So they just need a little bit more convincing. They need more time to get to know you and understand if you can truly help them. Or maybe they're looking for a specific answer to a specific problem, because SLOs solve one problem and one problem only. That is it. They are super dialed in, super drilled down, and they are solving one teensy itty bitty problem. You can have multiple SLOs, but it is best to start with just one, focusing on the main thing that you help people with. And here's some examples of SLOs. So you can have an ebook or a guide that's like 20 or more pages that's going to guide an individual through solving a specific problem, a short course or a program that educates the individual on a specific topic and helps them solve a specific problem. This is the most common SLO. A previously recorded class or workshop that discusses a problem in depth. It can be repurposed as an SLO. So if you did a free webinar or you did a paid webinar and it was a hit, or it was a very beneficial or solved a really specific problem, you can repurpose that recording into an SLO. And this is where knowing your audience is important. What's the number one thing that they want to solve? What's the number one problem that they are looking at? What's the number one thing that they Google when they're up late at night trying to solve all of their health issues? That's the thing you want to create your SLO around. A few things to consider when determining what your SLO is going to be. It should be easily consumed. Easily consumed, meaning it should not take them a lot of time, energy, and effort to consume the information that you are putting into that SLO. And it shouldn't take them a lot of time, energy, and effort to apply what they've learned. So little bite-sized pieces of information in a well-packaged program, ebook, webinar that is super impactful to them, easily consumed, and doesn't take a lot of brain power for them to implement. If it's intensive or difficult, they likely are not going to do what you're asking them to do. It should be digital in nature. This is easier for them to consume and for you to deliver. If you have an EHR like Practice Better or Charm or Healthy or some other thing out there, you can host a program on there. There are a variety of hosting programs: Kajabi, Thinkific, Teachable. If you have WordPress, there's a theme, it's called Thrive Themes. They have courses in there. There's a lot of digital ways that you can provide this. Heck, you could do it email only. You could send them a series of emails over a set number of days with links to recordings and links to documents that you've put in your Google Drive. So it doesn't have to be super fancy. You can put it anywhere you want as long as it's digital in nature. It should include a variety of mediums, right? So written text, handouts, video. Text-only items don't always do great. If you do choose an ebook, having some form of video embedded would be a great option, because everybody absorbs information in varying manners, and you want to ensure that you're making it accessible to everybody. Some people like to read. Some people absolutely can't stand reading long emails, but they will consume a 20-minute video or a 10-minute video. So just make sure that you have a variety of options in there. Your SLO is not a moneymaker. You're going to charge for it and you'll make money from it, but it's not the thing that's going to tip your money goals over the top. It's not the thing that's going to pay your mortgage. It's a way to build know, like, and trust, but also a way to get individuals used to paying you to help them with their health concerns. Another way to look at this is getting individuals used to investing in their own health. Trust is the biggest piece here. Most people have been to many other practitioners or tried a bunch of things that they've read on the interwebs. And I just saw a whole conversation in I can't remember which group it was the other day, but it was a whole conversation about people that are investing thousands and thousands of dollars into functional practitioners that aren't hitting on the core basics of what people need. They're not focusing on behavior modifications. They're not focusing on dietary changes. It's supplements, lab testing, which I think is an important piece, but we need to get back to the core of what we're focused on, which is food first, right? We're nutritionists or herbalists or health coaches. So we want to make sure that we're hitting on what they truly need, but also what they want. An SLO is going to put your face and your teaching style right in front of them so they can really feel like they're getting to know you, because people want to feel like they're your best friend. They want to feel like they know you. You should be yourself. I joke around with people a lot. My followers all know that I'm absolutely in love with peanut butter, and I think it's the greatest food ever. Is it the healthiest? Probably not, but it's my thing. And so, let people get to know you, and an SLO is a great way. It's another great way to kind of get them to know you, to see your face, to understand how you break complex pieces of information into tiny bite sizes of information that are easily understood and consumed. Your signature program is going to build on your SLO topic, so make sure that you're choosing that wisely. All right. Signature programs build on your SLO, like I said. You can have an SLO without a program, and you can have a big signature program without an SLO. You don't need both of them. It's typically works from a marketing strategy better to have both. You don't need both. And you can have multiple programs. You can have multiple signature programs. You can have multiple SLOs. Ideally, though, you want one signature program that solves the same problem that you teach in your one-on-one sessions. So again, like I talked about before, having a really deep knowledge of your audience and starting to build those protocols. When you start to see the same type of client over and over and over again, you start to build those protocols. You start to recognize those symptoms. Okay, for me, something that is often overlooked is parietal cell antibodies in the Hashimoto's community. If you have an autoimmune condition, you're 3 times more likely to develop an additional autoimmune condition. And often I find that people with Hashimoto's often are carriers of parietal cell antibodies, meaning that their body is attacking their parietal cells. They are not producing hydrochloric acid. They are not absorbing iron, which is a super important mineral for T4 to T3 conversion. So their Hashimoto's is creating an environment where their thyroid just isn't going to work. Not, aside from the fact that their immune system is kind of haywire, but we're taking out a really important nutrient that their body needs. So this is something, if you have that nugget of information that you help people with in their one-on-one sessions, this is something that you should be including in your program, in your bigger program. So this is why, again, I think it's really important that you have a well fleshed out one-on-one service. You've kind of hit the capacity that you're looking for. You're doing really well on that front. You're changing people's lives. You're helping them, and then taking that information and packaging it to a program so that you can help more people is kind of what we're looking for. Okay, so here's an example. So if you are focused on fertility and you complete like a variety of functional tests, you focus on really managing stress for progesterone production, you work on balancing hormones, supporting the liver and how it functions in the body, and ensuring that your gut health is in order, you're going to do those exact same things in your signature program. You can include a never-ending amount of information in your signature program. Literally, you could create a signature program that's like 6 months to a year. But that's insanely overwhelming to the lay population or the people that are going through your program. So you want to remember that when you're determining what it is that you are going to put into your program in order to keep your program on track and not overstuff it with information. It's really great to have a course or a program objective. And it's really common to overstuff programs, right? Because we think, oh, this is really simple information. It's not enough. Oh, I need to explain this more. Oh, I feel like I didn't include enough information here. And are they really going to see the value for the money? Maybe let me just add this other module, or let me just add this extra lesson. And that's imposter syndrome talking to you. You are more than enough. Your knowledge is more than enough, and people are coming to you because they are drawn to you. What you can provide is enough. We don't need to over deliver because that becomes overwhelming. A program objective is really similar to like a program goal, but what you think, okay, so think about the one thing that you want people to walk away from your program with. At the end of your program or course, what's the one thing that they should have achieved? And that's your program objective. That's the thing that you are walking them through so that at the end, they are able to achieve this thing. So it doesn't have to be a resolution of a problem, right? So if you have a 3-month program, and let's say, let's use the fertility example. In 3 months, can somebody repair their fertility? Maybe, but typically it takes a lot longer. So if you have a 3-month program around fertility, your program goal is not to become pregnant. You can't guarantee that regardless. Your program goal might be to provide all the steps and pieces of information that you need to bring your body back in balance to create the most ideal environment to achieve conception or pregnancy, right? So think about what you're trying to get them to achieve. Again, it doesn't have to be a resolution of a problem. It could be knowledge. It could be a map. It could be a guidebook. It could be a route to take to help to resolve a particular problem at some point in the future. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a resolution. But think, what is the one thing that you want them to walk away with at the end of your course? And that's what your objective is. You're also going to have objectives for each module or group of lessons as well. When determining if you should add more to your program, this is where you need to ask yourself, how will this piece of information that I want to add fit into my objective? Because we don't want to overstuff. We don't want to let that imposter syndrome take over. We don't want to over deliver and overwhelm. A signature program can be anywhere from 8 to 16 weeks. The most common length of a signature program is 8 to 12 weeks. So 2 to 3 months is the most common length of a signature program. You can have a shorter signature program in the 4 to 6 week realm. I don't think that you're typically going to be able to solve a lot of problems or generate a lot of thought process on your audience in that 4 to 6 weeks time. But again, it just depends on what is your overall program objective that you're trying to achieve. Let's see, a course longer than 16 weeks can be a little overwhelming. So you're talking more than 4 months course. That is a lot for people to commit to and stick with. Yes, we might see our clients for more than 4 months. I have clients that have been seen for like 2 or 3 years, and that's okay. There's a lot more hand-holding from session to session in that instance, whereas in a program, we're not necessarily doing all that hand-holding. We're giving them little bits of guidance along the way, but most of what we're giving them is the information that they need in the order in which they need to consume it, right? Because people can Google everything that I do in a consult. People can Google, they can find it somewhere out on the interwebs, but they don't implement it in the way that they need to for their body. So your program is to give them the information in alphabetical order of which they need to implement it in. But if people go on longer than 16 weeks, it typically is a little bit harder for them to commit to that. So I would consider keeping it in the 8 to 12 week realm when you're thinking about, what am I going to put into my program? So just remember, longer or more is not always better. Okay, so let's talk about outlining your program. The outline is what's going to help you write your program and your materials and actually create the lessons that you're going to include in your program. And this can feel like a really overwhelming piece because you're thinking to yourself, oh, well, I need to do this. I want to add this in. Oh, this would be really good information to put in there. Or you might be thinking, holy heck, I don't even know where to start, because you have analysis paralysis. You're thinking of all the things that you can include and you're like, oh, it's too overwhelming to even think where to start. I'm just not going to begin. I'm not going to do it. It's on my bucket list for this year. It's on my goals or it's in my marketing strategy, but I can't do it right now. I just can't. There are 2 ways that you can outline your course in order to make this less overwhelming. The very first way is to find a blank wall in your house. Somewhere in your house, if you don't have a blank wall, you can get a big whiteboard. You can go to the craft store and get a big poster board. Just find a space that you can sit in front of. Get a stack of sticky notes and a pen. And if you're like me, you've got a gazillion different color pens because office products is your love language. And if that's you, then get whatever pens you like. Get the fancy rainbow gel pens, get the ones that feel really good in your hand, get the different colors, get the different shapes, sticky notes, whatever it is that feeds your soul, and sit in front of that blank wall or that whiteboard and just start writing. You are going to put a specific piece of information on a sticky note and stick it on the wall. One teeny specific piece of information, and stick it on the wall. And that little piece of information is going to be a part of a lesson. So an example might be 5 minutes of meditation before bed each night. That is something that I often recommend to just about every client that I have. And so I want to make sure that that's something that I add into my program. So I write 5 minutes of guided meditation each night before bed, stick it on the wall. This is going to be a specific part of your lesson. So you will continue to do this in no particular order. You are just going to brain dump everything that you are thinking that you would like to include in your course on a sticky note on the wall, sticky note wall, sticky note wall. And you will continue to do this until you think it's done. I have effectively taken everything that's up here that I want to put in my course, and I have put it on this wall. And then you will start to arrange it. Once it's out there, you will start to group like things, right? So if I put 5 minutes of meditation, but I also put grounding exercise, and then I also put, dancing, or then I also put reading a book, or I also put information on the autonomic nervous system. And then maybe I also put like fight or flight, or fight, flight, or freeze, or being stuck in flight or flight mode. So if I put all this stuff there, I would group all those together because that's all kind of like-minded things. And you would continue to do that. And those are your modules. So all of your groups together, whether you've got 5, 6, or 8 groups at the end, those are your modules. Then after you've grouped them there, then you take those modules, those sticky notes in each module, and you list them in the order that you want them to be consumed. You put the very first sticky note at the top. Maybe it's education on the autonomic nervous system. And then the next sticky note might be, what is fight or flight? And then the next sticky note might be being stuck in fight or flight and how that looks in the body. And then the next sticky note might be grounding. And then the next sticky note might be dancing. The next sticky note might be reading. So then you're getting into the interventions of people that are having autonomic dysregulation and they're stuck in fight or flight. And these are the symptoms that it's exhibiting in their body. And then these are the interventions. And those are lessons. Your very first lesson might be 5 minutes of education on the autonomic nervous system. Your next lesson might be being stuck in fight or flight. How does somebody get there, and what does that look like in their body? And then your next lesson might be your first intervention. This is what dancing can do for your autonomic nervous system. Listening to music and providing the research that goes along with it. So that's kind of how you start to outline your course so it feels a little less overwhelming. The other way that you can do this is in a Google document. You don't have to do it in a sticky note. If you are a very visual person, I highly recommend that you sit down with your sticky notes in your whiteboard or your big space of empty wall. If you're not so visual, I would do it in a Google document. Open up a Google document, brain dump everything, copy and paste it in order that you want to do it, and then start grouping it into modules and then lessons. Oh, as an aside note, lessons should be on the shorter side. We don't want lessons to be 20 or 30 minutes or 60 minutes. People just do not have the time or the attention span to watch a long video. I personally absolutely hate YouTube. Hate it. I would rather skim a blog really quick in 30 seconds to figure out, is this the information that I'm looking for, than I would to sit down and consume a 10 or 15 minute video. And now everybody's different, but it's me. So you want to keep your lessons on the shorter side. Remember, they should be easily consumable and not overwhelming. So if you have a lesson video that's 3, 5, 6 minutes long, you're doing things good. If you have a lesson video that's 20, 30 minutes long, you might want to break that into 2 lessons, a part 1 and a part 2. Or are you segueing from one piece of information to a next that you can actually break into a second lesson instead of combining it all into one lesson? The shorter the bits of information, the easier it is for people to absorb, the less overwhelming they feel, which means the more likely they are to apply the information that you're providing. So just remember that. Okay, and then we've got course enhancements. So we talked about outlining. Course enhancements are something that you should take into consideration. Do you have to have them? Absolutely not. Are they going to enhance or benefit your course participants? Yes. These are essentially handouts or cheat sheets, guides, downloads, workbooks, additional pieces of information, something that enhances the information that you've provided in your lesson. So often I will use cheat sheets, guides, or workbooks, something for them to take notes on, something for them to like fill in the blank to help them stay engaged in the video, something that is going to give them a task to do, kind of summarizes the information. Here's your homework for this video. So something to kind of add to it. It doesn't have to be super colorful. It doesn't have to be designed in the way that you see it in this moment. It can literally just be a simple Word document, and then you can add the super cute designs later. But these are going to help enhance their learning experience of your students. And remember, everybody learns differently. So you want to provide different mediums for people to do that. When I consume videos, it works best for me if I have like question prompts that I have to answer, or if I have like a fill in the blank type of thing on like a note that I have to take when I'm consuming video because I dislike video. So I provide those to my audience, but I also provide ways that they can just listen to the video and not have to do that, so that people can have, an option of what they want to do. You don't need to have a course enhancements for every single lesson, but a smattering of where you think it's going to be important and helpful for them. And then live elements. So this is where passive isn't so passive in the nutrition realm. I think it's really important to add a live element to your program. And this could be something as simple as a 30-minute check-in call, or once a month group coaching, or if you have a private Facebook group for your program participants, doing a monthly live Q&A in there where people can ask their questions. Some live element to help them in that implementation piece. Because remember, in your one-on-one sessions, you're doing a lot of hand-holding and a lot of coaching and a lot of moving from step to step. Whereas in a program, they're not necessarily getting that. So little bits of live element in there will help enhance your course to ensure that those participants are much more successful than if they were just doing it on their own. The live element is also going to create a sense of community around those that are in your course. And that's usually something that people are really looking for. And that's why there's so many different health-focused Facebook groups out there or Reddit forums, is because people are looking for community. They want to know that they're not alone in what they're struggling with. And so if you can create that community inside your program, that's just another way for your program participants to be much more successful. And their success is really important when you're creating these. Okay, so pricing your program is a really heavy topic. And remember, if the goal of your program is to ensure that your information is more accessible to those that cannot afford one-on-one sessions. So we want to provide passive income for us, but for a lot of people, we want to make sure that people of varying backgrounds can also consume the information that they need to help them lead healthier lives or to help them solve problems that they're looking for. So if accessibility is important to you, then you want to take that into consideration when you are pricing your course. Having an affordable program is going to also allow you to make more money without expending more of your time, energy, and effort, and be more accessible to a larger population of people. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody if you look at it that way. A good range for a signature program is anywhere between $297 and just under $2,000, so $1,997. it is a really big range. And it really just all depends on the level of live element that you're including in your program. If you are going to have a live element every week, that's going to drive up the price of your program. If you are going to have a live element a couple times a month, then that makes it a little bit more moderate. If you're going to have a live element once a month, that makes it a little bit more moderate. If you are going to have no live element, then that's kind of like bottom dollar. You want to start low with your pricing and then increase it as needed. It is always easier to increase the price of your program than it is to decrease the price of your program. Okay, and then we've got live versus evergreen. So if you are not familiar with these terms, that's totally okay. A live program is where everyone starts at the same time and it ends at the same time. EHRs may call this a fixed date program. Schools may call this a synchronous course. It's where everybody is on the same path. Everybody starts the same date. Everybody finishes the same date. And evergreen, some people will call this asynchronous, where people can hop in at different times. Somebody can start in January, somebody can start the middle of January, 6 people can start in the beginning of February. So everybody's kind of at a different spot in the program, but they're all working through the same program. So it just essentially has rolling enrollment. I believe it is always best to run your program live first so that you can work out any problems that you have with it. You can get feedback from the participants. You can understand, does it flow well? Are people really struggling with a piece of information that maybe you need to expand on? Is it enough time for them? Is it too long of a time for them? So after you've run it live a few times, you're able to make changes to your courses over a period of time. And then once it's kind of to the point where people are consuming it, they're doing well with it, it's on the right path, that's when you can change it into an evergreen program. You can come out of the gate with an evergreen program. It's your business. It's entirely up to you. But I recommend that you start with live first. Okay. And always sell your program before you have created it. I know it seems backward, but sell your program before you've created it. And this is important for 2 reasons. The first is if you wait to sell it until you've created it, you may never create it. Creating a program can be overwhelming. Your imposter syndrome is going to set in. Your brain's going to tell you all the reasons why you're not enough to create a program and why there's other people that should be creating the program and not you. It's 100% imposter syndrome. You are enough. You have enough knowledge. You have enough information. You can help people. The other reason is if you create a program, but you don't have a warm audience or you don't have a marketing strategy in place available to market to people, you've got this really great program that you've created, but nobody's buying it. So you don't want to put a lot of time, energy, and effort into creating a program that people haven't bought into. If you have your outline, you've created, your lessons, you've done the outline with the sticky notes or in a Google Doc, you've got the outline, sell it with the outline. People will know what's coming. They will know, what's going to happen. And as people enroll, then you start creating it. That way you're not putting a lot of time, effort, and energy into creating a program that people aren't going to purchase. So always sell first. Okay, so this is, like I said, a topic for another time. We've only got about 10 minutes left, so I'm only going to spend like a minute or 2 here because there's some questions in the Q&A that I want to get to. So this is a topic for another time, but I want to give you some quick tips on how to market your program to your warm audience, not your cold audience, your warm audience. If you have an email list, use it to market your program. If you don't have an email list, this is your sign to make sure that you have an email list, to start generating one, to start communicating with your email list and emailing them regularly. If you have a list, that's great, but you got to stay in contact with them so that they understand who you are, what you provide, and what your voice sounds like over written message. An email list is a list of people that are problem aware and solution aware, right? They have come to you or they're following a variety of nutritionists because they are problem and solution aware. They just need to know about your program so that they can become product aware. So adding new email members into a nurture sequence is really helpful to warm them up so that you can market your course to them. A nurture sequence may look something like this, and I've outlined it here. This is a nurture sequence. Some people may also call this a sales funnel. Your very first email. So when somebody comes to your email list, you will add them to this flow. Everybody will get the same set of emails. This is a lot of emails. There's obviously 37 emails here. If you're thinking, holy cow, Sunny, how am I going to write 37 emails? That's totally okay. You don't have to do it right now. As you email your list regularly, those are emails that you're writing. Collect those emails, save them in a Word document, and organize them at a later date when you've emailed your list 37 times. So if you email your list twice a month for the next year, as you try to build this email list, at the end of the year, you're going to have 24 emails already written for you. So your very first email is your welcome email. Welcome to my list. This is who I am. This is what I'm about. Emails 2 through 7 are nurturing emails. So you're going to provide them with valuable information, whether it's little tips, little tricks, pieces of blogs. If you have blogs, I would include those. If not, a little handout, a download, something that's going to provide value to the problem that they're looking to solve. Emails 8 through 10 is introduction to your slow liquidating offer. This is who I am. This is what I have. This is how much it costs. This is the problem it's going to solve for you. If they don't purchase that program, then emails 11 through 15, you're continuing to nurture them. You're continuing to provide valuable information to them. 16 to 17, you're going to introduce your SLO again, because people need to see things upwards of 7 times before they purchase or before they enroll in it. Emails to 18 to 25, you're going to nurture some more. 26 to 29, you're going to introduce them to your signature program. If they don't buy your signature program, 30 to 35, you're going to nurture some more. 36 to 37, signature program. If they still don't purchase any of your programs at that point, they will exit the nurture sequence and just get your regular newsletter, because that's not the time for them. Later on, when you market it again, then that might be the time for them. And some people may never buy. They just might be consumers of free information out there on the interwebs, and that's totally okay. Okay, so let me do the Q&A. Okay, so Grace asked, do you make supplement recommendations to mass groups, or do you do an individual basis with group programs? So in group programs with supplement recommendations, I will often provide a variety. So for instance, in like a gut healing lesson, I might say, these are my top 3 favorite gut healing supplements. This is what each one does. And these are the contraindications of each. So if you're taking any medications of this, you don't want to consume this one. This one, you don't want to consume this one, sort of thing. I have in the top tier of my program, I offer a bonus, which is a free 30-minute supplement call. I will have people fill out an abridged intake form with medications, health history, things like that. I review that, and then I will provide supplement recommendations based on our 30-minute conversation that we've had throughout the program. So I think there's 2 different ways that you can do it. Kara says, developing protocols for similar types of clients, i.e. hypothyroid. How do you maintain a personalized medicine model moving into a program format? I would love to hear your thoughts on how you balance a standardized with personalized approach. That is where the group coaching or the 30-minute check-in calls, your live element comes in there. So your live element is not to introduce new information. It's to help overcome hurdles. If people are stuck, it's to answer their questions, and it's to personalize bits and pieces of your program that may not be applicable to them, or they might be struggling with. So you can say, great, skip that, move to the next section, because that's just not for you. So that's kind of what you do in your live element. Judy says, do you require your group members to have an individual intake with you first? If not, how do you negotiate individualized nutrition for group members, or do you not do that? So I think that kind of goes with the question that Kara had with, as far as how do you balance personalized with generalized or standardized nutrition approach, is I do that in the live element piece of the program. And even if you're doing an evergreen program, you can still have a live element to it and help answer those very specific questions that people might have. You can do it in a Facebook group as well. So if you have a private Facebook group for people that are enrolled in your course, or others, some type of chat stream, whether you're using Slack or something like that for your group members. Some people will use WhatsApp, a WhatsApp group chat for their group members to answer some of those questions that they have. Carol Lee, thank you for validating how much energy it takes to be fully present for our clients. Sometimes I question if I should take that much out of me. It is very, very draining. Kiara, what worked best for you in developing a deep understanding of your audience and what they need? I'm one of my typical audience. Can that be of help? It can. Surveys. Anonymous surveys to my audience, and is what helped me over time to truly understand what I took from one-on-one sessions and the surveying that I did helped me truly understand what my thoughts were and what their thoughts were, and how to kind of bridge the two of those together. What are your suggestions for questions we need to answer for ourselves and knowing our audience? Oh, and Tammy said, I have a few questions that are pretty general for market survey. If you want to email me, I can share them with you. Thank you, Tammy. So really important questions is, where do you absorb your health information from? Are you reading blogs, listening to podcasts? Who are your favorite health influencers to follow? What in relation to your health keeps you up late at night? When you think about your health, what do you Google? If you could change 3 things about your health, what would they be? In regards to social media, where do you spend the most amount of time on in reference to health? Those are kind of the bigger questions. There's a whole like survey that you can do, but I would say those are the really important pieces that you need to know. My target audience includes nutrition professionals. Do I create free content for my competitors? I am a train the trainer, so to speak. I don't know. I wouldn't consider them as competitors, right? So if your audience is nutrition professionals, what are you doing for them, right? So my audience as a business coach is nutrition professionals. So I'm going to create things for them that are going to help enhance their business. As a nutritionist, I'm going to create things for the Hashimoto's or hypothyroid community that are going to support them. So it depends on how or what the nutrition professionals are as a part of your audience. If they are essentially clients as a part of your nutrition business, so you are helping other nutrition professionals overcome burnout or work on their own health problems because they spend their time helping other people, then you're not really creating free content for your competitors, you're creating free content for your audience. Would SLOs be an intro topic program or more of a lead magnet product? It's more of an intro topic program. You certainly can use SLOs as a lead magnet, but I would recommend using a lead magnet to feed into your SLO and then your SLO to feed into your signature program. But you can certainly use an SLO as a lead magnet as well. I've attended many practice building webinars. Greatly appreciate your fresh and actionable content. Oh, you're so welcome. Do you ever do interactive group programs, or is it always ones people do on their own? I do interactive group programs in that it's evergreen. People go through it as they're going, whenever they hop onto it. But I offer different tiers, and one of the tiers has, so the base tier has 2 live group coaching with everybody enrolled at the time. So everybody has an opportunity to have a live element. The next tier has 2 additional group coachings every month, limited to 5 women or less, or 5 people or less. And so people in the top tier have the opportunity to have a group coaching every week. People in the bottom tier have group coaching twice a month. So at the very least, everybody is getting some type of interactive group piece there. I personally feel that the interactive piece is really, really important in the nutrition field. I don't think that we can do a set it and forget it type program and have our people be successful. Do you stay away from supplements or herbs in case your group members are on medications that you don't have that info? All of my group members fill out an intake form. So I have that information before I recommend. So if I'm on a group coaching call and somebody that didn't do like a supplement call with me asks, hey, in your workbook, you recommend like, GI Revive or L-glutamine or zinc L-carnitine or all these other different things for gut healing. I'm just curious, which one do you think is the best? And I'll go, oh, well, let me pull up your intake form real quick. Let me just scan your medications, make sure that you're not in anything that could potentially interfere. And then, okay, well, it looks like you're on this medication. I'm going to say L-glutamine is probably the best option for you so that it doesn't interfere with any type of meds that you're on. So I do it that way, but all of my group program members fill out an intake form so that I have that information. Price range for a signature course is $297 to $1997. If the programs are 5 minutes, they are daily, weekly, or 6 months. So if the lessons are short, lessons should be less than 10 minutes. 5 to 6 minutes is usually better. It's really how long it's going to take them to get through the course, what you deem, right? So I might have module 1 that has 5 or 6 lessons in it, but I deem that they're going to need 2 weeks to get through that information, because could they consume it all in one day? Absolutely. But can they implement all that information that I put in module 1 in one day? Absolutely not. So I figure, based on my experience in one-on-one consultations, that they're going to need 2 weeks to implement that information. So that's how much time they spend in module 1 before they move on to module 2. So you can put those time limits on, how they kind of move through the course. When selling before having the program complete, would you recommend promoting a wait list? Yes, absolutely. Do you find that people get annoyed or turned off with all the emails? No. If the majority of your emails is actionable information for them, tips and tricks, pieces of information, free content that they can consume, 80% of the information that you put out in the world should be free information for them to consume. 20% is promotion. So if your nurture sequence is 80% free information and 20% promotion, you're going to be okay. How do you stay within legal scope? Programs tend to be virtual. So if clients are in states not legally able to work as a nutritionist, how do you still do the program with them? How to maintain safe in the legal aspect? So on the intake form, I ask, what state they're in. I think that's important to me. And I really try to stay. So the program itself is really like health coaching, right? So we're not necessarily recommending supplement recommendations. But I could say, in the past, these have been helpful for people, focusing on this piece of the program. Or if we're talking about stress, these are helpful adaptogens to people that I have worked with in the past. So I'm not saying I would like for you to take cortisol relief by Vitanica. I say that this could be potentially helpful. These are the interactions that you need to know about. So I'm giving them the information without the direction to take it. So that's kind of how I balance it. And I do the same thing in health in the live coaching piece. I try to get licensed in as many states as I can to kind of cover that. If I'm licensed in Florida, Illinois, North Carolina. So I try to cover that piece. So if I want to dive deeper with somebody, I certainly can, but I really try to stay in the health coaching realm, education as much as possible.
All right, Sonia, let's take one more and then we're going to have to wrap it up.
I think there's just one more question.
Oh, perfect.
Did you do a coaching program to call yourself a business coach? I am coming from my own issues with MINF. I have a master's of business administration. So I have a bachelor's in business. I have a master's of business administration. So I did not take any additional programming to call myself a business coach. But I have a lot of experience in marketing, building my own businesses, helping other people to build their own businesses. Imposter syndrome is always a struggle for people. You are enough. You are always enough. All right. So that was all the questions. Thank you all for participating, asking questions. I really enjoyed talking with you today.
Thank you so much, Sunny. And I will send out the recording and the slides with Sunny's notes by the end of the week. So if you missed anything or want to relook at all the information, you'll have it.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Have a great day.
Bye.